Greg contacted me and said that the class, unless they were able to get this money, that the class wouldn't be able to go on this retreat. So as far as numbers, I'm sorry, I should know those, but I don't. But it's
how many students are in this dialogue?
this last year there were 60.
Go ahead, Dan.
Since the number is not, we're not exactly sure, should we change it to up to $300?
Gigi?
I know that in the past when we've made legislation, you guys want to change it to say up to $300, but part of the Constitution is any money they don't use, they can return to us too. So
they can or they have to?
oh, they must return to us. So if you guys are concerned about that, then it doesn't really need wording.
Yeah, I think the retreat this last year was cost around $250, but Greg wanted to make sure that with the rising cost of gas prices.
Is there any money out of the students' pockets for this, or
No.
all these ones?
All these ones. The dialogue fee would be out of the student's pocket, but that's included in your tuition payments. So.
Is there any further debate? Seeing no further debate, we will now move to a vote on legislation 9. All in favor of passing legislation 9, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Legislation 9 passes. Legislation 10, read by Sarah Pompola.
Whereas the fiscal year does not end until the 30th of June, and whereas it is necessary for Senate to approve by legislation the removal of funds from the budget, and whereas it will be appear that the student association may have a significant sum of money remaining in the budget by the end of the year, and whereas this morning, April 20th, is the last meeting of the student association Senate, and whereas the student association will still incur expenses after this final meeting, therefore, let it be resolved that power be given to the Senate to the executive committee to allocate the remaining money from this 2008 to 2007 to 2008 fiscal year as it seems fit, respectfully submitted. Anna Flint, Adrian, Sarah Elkin, Ben Johnson, Sarah.
Sarah, would you like to give the opening comment, or do you prefer to defer?
I really don't know about it, so I would like to refer.
Okay, I can give the opening comment, yes, thank you, sorry. Yeah, so like I said, this is what usually happens every year, because like the legislation reads, you guys have to give approval for money to be removed from the budget. So you guys are going to be gone, me and Adrian are going to be here with lots of money, and as the Student Association does, and we do still incur expenses after you guys leave, and things like Jonathan had come earlier in the year, and we had promised him that we would buy him a camera with these remaining funds, and some other expenses that come up during the year. So, yeah. Is there an opposing comment? Seeing no opposing comment, we'll move into general debate. Go ahead, Sam.
Is there money still, like, is it just the general fund that we have, or will there be other money, like, groups that didn't use all their money?
Yeah, usually what happens, there's the money that comes in from the general fund, which is almost like kind of running low, so there's not a ton there. But unlike the business clubs, some clubs do not use all of their budget or hardly touch their budget at all. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure the swim club got allocated $250 this year, and they haven't not touched that money at all. So all of the extra money coming in from the clubs, plus if there's extra money from social events, if ARC hasn't used all their money, if academics and education still has a budget left, all of that money just funnels back in. So it's really hard to tell. There's a lot of money just kind of laying out there, and we won't know until the end of the year, when like the end of the school year, when everybody has to submit their final check requests and things, and we'll figure out how much we have left. Is there any further debate? Hearing no further debate, we'll now move to vote on legislation 10. All in favor of passing legislation 10, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Legislation 10 passes. We will now move into open forum. Go ahead,
I've
Lucas.
got a question for Leah. I probably should have asked last week, but is anything coming out from the Ignite thing? You mentioned that like the solicitors that were on campus were not supposed to be on campus anymore, but like they were going for a statement about employers on campus. Is that still like discussion?
But as it was reported in the press, there was a meeting with Fairmark and Unite representatives. Right now, we actually have to allow them on campus because otherwise it is interference with union business. So I know that Tom Olson's office is still working on settling things with them. But right now there's a lot of gray areas. So he's trying to work not only with the Unite Here people, but also with Airmark. And it's just, I know there's a lot of touchy subjects. And I know that one of the goals of Unite Here was to try to have the administration sign their conduct policy or statement, but we are actually trying to turn that so that Airmark would have to adhere to North Park's kind of conduct codes, and, which is the normal practice with any kind of vendor and relationship. It's usually not the university that would sign something, it's the vendor, and ours is where our conduct statements.
Go ahead, Dan.
Does the university have any kind of like, I'm not saying like bust down the doors and like check for like rats or whatever, but like, is there any way, does the university have any way of keeping the ARA accountable? Especially since, because of its bad reputation?
Keeping them accountable in like health policy goals?
Policy, like, I don't know, whatever it is, I don't know. Like, is there any kind of
I mean,
procedure?
those are all standards that are, I mean, for codes and violations, that's all government that they would have to, I mean, that's regulated by the government. That's not really anything that and they have regular inspections all the time. I mean, I see them all the time going through Viking, going through Airmark. But I mean, my suggestion is if there's a concern, especially by the students, about Airmark and any of their practices, go online, look at the Airmark website, look at what Unite Here is saying. I personally checked into it, and this is just my personal statement, but it's when you're ranked #1 in a Fortune 500 for 3 years in a row, there's a lot of things that are considered before that ranking can be applied to you. So, and I also think that you have to look at just what's been going on here, specifically with the employees that we have at Airmark on our campus, and that's kind of just that. If there was really a problem with Airmark, I don't really know that Airmark would continue to support them.
Chuck?
This might be more of a legal question. As I understand, Airmark on campus isn't unionized, right? Well, then how can Unite Here have union business on North Park when they don't have a union here? Wouldn't that be solicitation?
Again, I think that there's some, it's definitely more than my knowledge.
Okay.
But yeah, there is some gray areas. But because Unite Here is a union organization,